everybody. Tom McCarthy, Big and Scott Corporate Director. I'm here to welcome Dean, or not welcome Dean, to congratulate Dean on yet another stellar month. Dean, frequently we see you on as Salesperson of the Month. Consistency seems to be your game plan, and that's wonderful. Before we get into ask you about that, we knew each other in another life.
We did, Tom, back in the car days.
In the car days. They were great days, dropping into Bib Stills in Williams Road in Paran there. I suppose probably a pretty good grounding, or a lot of relevance between the car game and ours. How do you see the two interacting, or are they, or is there a big difference?
Very interactive in terms of are they similar? Without a shadow of a doubt, because look, ultimately, if you sell stuff, but cars and houses are a different product ultimately. But that's what it really comes down to. So automotive is very process driven, as is real estate as well.
I remember one of the things that always impressed me years ago about the car business was their follow-up was light years ahead of real estate. And I think it'd be fair to say that we've probably caught up. I'm not sure, you've been at it for a while now, but I'm not sure we've caught up completely, but it certainly was light years ahead of what we were doing at the time. Has that kept you in good stead with the processes and how you track your numbers and keep in touch with your clients?
Definitely. So I've always, by nature, I've always been pretty process driven. I love a good Excel, so I like to track my numbers. But touching on what you were saying about the automotive, I think a lot of what I learned early on in my career within the automotive industry probably set me up well into real estate, particularly around the follow-up piece with clients. Yeah.
Okay, well, now you find yourself in real estate and not knocking it out of the park, quite self-evidently. Had a great month. Rather than ask you, what was great about it, perhaps what might be more helpful is to ask you the question: if you look back at your time, or the last month, what could you have done better to get even a better outcome?
Oh, good question. In terms of a better outcome for the month, or just in general a better outcome, then the only reason I say that is, yes, I had a good month, so the month was good. Could I have done things differently to make this month and December better? Absolutely. So, a couple of things kind of come to mind is work my pipeline harder without a shadow of a doubt, because when you're busy doing sales and deals, naturally you're focusing on that. And then the one thing that ends up suffering is then your prospecting. So that for me is always something that I just really struggle with when I'm really busy.
Yeah.
And whilst I've got a fabulous colleague, Jake, who works with me, he did an awesome job as well, and he needs to be congratulated as well. So congrats, Jake. But at the same time, it's the one thing that we end up kind of just forgetting about a little bit. I wouldn't say forgetting, but neglecting. So for me, it's pipeline prospecting.
It's so true. And I remember, for my time in real estate, there's really three balls I think that you need to have in the air. There's your listing ball, there's your selling ball, and then there's the prospecting one. And they all require the same amount of effort and same amount of time, I think.
Yep.
But the one that's left behind is obviously the prospect one, probably because it's not as immediate, not as sexy, I guess, as going out there and putting that sold sticker on. Would that be fair to say? Is that how you see your month? Is that how you see it, and how it pans out for you?
Definitely. And I think particularly now that the market has contracted, you're working a lot harder to get the deal done. So you're actually, everything's taking a lot longer in terms of getting deals done. So when you're selling that, depending on the volume, that amount of property, it then just takes a long time, and it's quite drawn out and laborious. So prospecting, unfortunately, for me, looking back, going, that kind of suffered. The other thing that I probably could have been better at as well, and that would have probably made not only for a better month, but obviously, moving into November would have made for this month better, is just sharpening up on my vendor reporting in terms of what I send out to them, but then getting in front of them weekly And I guess just educating him in terms of what the market's doing and probably where we need to be to get a result.
Okay, well, look, obviously, with the end of the year winding out, Dean, and we're heading towards the Christmas break, what are you going to do to refresh and renewal, which I think is a key element in keeping that consistency going through?
As in, what am I personally going to do to refresh?
Yes.
So I've got some time planned for early in the year. So I've actually going to have some time off, but certainly leading up to until then, because it's not going to be until the very end of the year. So we're pretty much working during the festive season. I'm just going to try and list as many as I can to then obviously set me up in for the new year, basically.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm just going to try and turn my phone off while I am on break and then just divert it to my colleague's number.
Oh, absolutely critical. If you're having a break, have a proper break, keep away from the phone. But, getting back into the work side of things, the new year starts pretty rapidly because all of us are in our office, I'm sure the same as you. We are already focused and listing on, January and into February as our next session, and trying to get that momentum going. Are you doing what was suggested in training about perhaps putting your properties online straight after Christmas Day, and then trying to book that inquiry to the 15th, guaranteeing that you're going to have a break and then swing the doors open on mid-Jan? Is that the theory for you?
The short answer is yes. But don't get me wrong, because those that are still, wanting to come on prior, will have them available during kind of that festive period. But it's those that don't necessarily want to actually have conventional opens during the festive season that I'm offering it to. So at this stage, I have one confirmed client, definitely, that's going to be coming on. I'm calling it the Boxing Day sale, so to speak, because we're going to launch them on Boxing Day. But otherwise, it's really just going to be for those vendors that don't actually want to run open homes in early January. But otherwise, it will be business as usual for us. Even though I'm going away on break, it'll be my colleague that then picks it up.
You mentioned how this current market and how the dynamics have changed, and the importance of working hard on the vendors to get these deals across the line. I've noticed inside my office that the reliance on real-time agent RTA to send across offers online, that's been fantastic, and it's a huge innovation. But what about meeting face-to-face? What about the belly-to-belly meeting to get those more difficult clients across?
Definitely. So I try and get in front of my vendors where I can. We often run midweek opens. So what I try and do is actually just meet with them straight after the open home.
Okay.
So what I often do is Jake will actually prepare a lot of the vendor report. We'll actually send them comparable sales that have sold, comparable listings that we might be competing with, realestate.com stats, domain stats. And then post open, I'll actually try and sit down with my vendors to actually then go through it. So I try and send that out typically on a Tuesday. And then depending on when we have the open, if it is a Tuesday or a Wednesday, then it's on those days that I'll actually get in front of my vendors. Ideally, face-to-face is best.
Yeah. I think also if you can get face-to-face and you've got it on the real-time agent application and they can sign off on it, they're fabulous. Another technique where we're bringing back into our business with offers is getting the offer signed up on a paper contract. If you feel that you're not going to get it across the line at the moment, putting it in writing and leaving it with the client, because when it's a paper contract sitting on their dining room and you walk and go home or whatever, you go back to work, they can't ignore this document that's sitting there like a real breathing document. And so it's almost like a real estate prop, something to create urgency, something that needs to be addressed from the vendor's perspective. There's a lot of that sort of older sort of technology that's still available that would still work really well. But the key, I think, as you're highlighting, is get belly to belly, get in front of the client. Don't do this on the phone because you're not going to get the outcomes. And would that be fair to say?
Couldn't agree more, Tom. Something that I pretty much never changed apart from when I had to and I was forced to during COVID and lockdowns and all the rest of it. If I present an offer to a vendor, I would say 8 times out of 10, it's actually in person and I actually physically go through it.
Yeah, good.
And if it is a case that they actually need to think about it and it's just not going to get done, then I'll actually leave it there.
Yeah, I find that if you send something through electronically and it's a close deal, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? The problem with sending through electronically is it gets in the inbox. They look at it, they think about it, they reflect on it, they go get their partner, their friend, their advisor, and say, "What do you think? What should my response be?" You need to eyeball them to be able to see and read exactly what your next move's going to be to get this across the line.
Definitely, without a doubt. Because normally you kind of know, because when you're on a phone call, it's very easy for anyone to say no, right?
Yeah.
So if it's not agreeable, they'll just go, "Oh no, it's nowhere near what we need to be," or whatever it is. And it's kind of over, it's done. One, you're not actually reading body language, you don't know what they're thinking, all of that kind of stuff. And that's why I don't know, I just prefer to do it in person. So, and, picking up on training that we're at yesterday, and Josh is amazing because he covers off so much and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great dose of enthusiasm, positivity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's always, a lot of the time, it's the same stuff. And that's what real estate comes down to, is it's actually good old fashioned real estate and repeating the same stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's an old saying in our business is that you don't have to be good, you just have to be there. And what I mean by being there is you just have to be there to hand out the brochure, to take that off to the client, to open that property one extra time. None of this is neck-breakingly amazing stuff. And that's the thing about our business. You don't have to be good, you just have to be there. Well, all power to you, Dean. What a great month. Look forward to seeing you, and I'm sure we will see you repeatedly in 2023, holding the flag for Big and Scott. Got to get that right. And make sure you have a great break. Before we go, pizza. I was asking my daughter this the other day. I watch a podcast. It's called the Howie Games. And he asked this question of all his people he interviews. He says, "Hawaiian pizza. Are you a guy who puts pineapple on or no pineapple?"
100% pineapple all the way.
Yeah, me too. Just a little thing. Thought I'd ask.
The bigger question is, do you like anchovies on a pizza?
No.
Yeah, me either. There you go.
That's a definite no. There's two types of people in the world, isn't there? Ones that love them and the ones that don't.
Agreed.
Hey, great chatting. We'll see you all next time, probably again with Dean. Bye now.
Hopefully. See ya.
Welcome to Mercedes-Benz Toorak. Here at the Home of Luxury, our friendly and knowledgeable team are here to showcase and demonstrate to you the Mercedes-Benz of your dreams. With a remarkable range of demonstrator vehicles here on site in Toorak, why would you choose to buy your next Mercedes-Benz anywhere else? Bookings are essential to secure your VIP test drive experience this weekend, so reach out now. We look forward to welcoming you to Mercedes-Benz Toorak, the Home of Luxury.